This video will cover 10 mental strategies used by the best athletes in the world. The most common strategy used by the elite is visualization, which refers to vividly imagining a future before it has arrived. Doing this allows athletes to practice and prepare for all potential situations before they occur. Here's how the greatest athlete of all time does it.
I spent a ton of time visualizing on how the race could go, how I want the race to go, and how I don't want the race to go. So I'm already prepared. For whatever happens, I can accept it and move past it.
Number 2, mindfulness meditation. Science shows that meditation significantly changes the brain, making it easier to focus and stay calm under pressure. Kobe was an avid proponent of meditation.
And I do it for about 10 to 15 minutes. And I think it's important because it sets me up for the rest of the day. You know, it helps me. It's like having an anchor. You know, if I don't do it, I feel like I'm constantly chasing the day, as opposed to being able to be controlled and dictate the day. Not that you're, calling the shots on what comes forward, but the fact that I am set and ready for whatever may come my way. I have a calmness about whatever comes my way and a poise, and that comes from starting the morning off with meditation.
Lebron, too, has a mindfulness practice.
Strengthen our focus. The mind is like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it becomes.
Number 3, preparation routines. Athletes use preparation routines to get into an optimal state of mind to perform at their best.
Over 100 throughout the year, including the playoffs. You need those things to kind of settle your nerves, just get your mind right and just be able to relax and focus and enjoy what you get to do for a living. So those routines really just help me settle in. Help me appreciate the day, the build up to game time. And no matter what game it is, 182, playoffs, finals, whatever it is, it's just another basketball game that I gotta be ready to play. Some of them are quirky, some are goofy, some don't make sense, some are necessary, but that's all part of the process of playing at a high level. My game day rituals are pretty extensive from the time I wake up to the time the game starts. A lot of it happens on the floor in terms of my shoot-around routine and my pregame warm-up routine and kind of how many shots I get up, the sessions that I have to get my mind ready to get see the ball go in the basket and all that type of stuff. But in terms of off the court, I have the same breakfast pretty much every morning. After shoot around, I go home. I take probably a 2-hour nap pretty much every day around the same time. No idea how they started. One by one, just add a little bit and add a little bit until you find the full routine. They just get you going.
Number 4, self-talk.
Too much power. Too clean, too small. Too clean. Too much distance, too much range. Too much confidence.
The best MMA fighters use self-talk to boost confidence before competition.
Featherweight's very upset. But
here's another example of how one of the best UFC fighters of all time uses self-talk.
Then I'm like, okay, shake it up. I go in the bathroom by myself. I go look myself in the mirror, and that's what I do before the fight. I try to convince myself like a kid, I'm the greatest, I'm the strongest, and I think of it, look at me, and I'm this, I'm beautiful, I'm strong, I'm this, and I'm faster, I'm stronger, I'm gonna win. It's like these young guys, they lose, but I'm gonna show them what the way to do it, Maybe they fail, but I won't. I'm gonna show everybody how it should be done, man. So I come back in the gym with the glory to show them that I achieve it, and that's how it should be done. They're gonna follow me, man. So I try to boost myself, man. Open the door, go back. I still hate my job, but I'm a different person than when I got in the door. So I play with mind games like this with myself all the time. It's stuff that try to change your attitude. And it's very important for a fighter because the confidence is a key for a fighter.
Music helps athletes focus and get into an optimal state for competition. Michael Phelps, for example, would always listen to Eminem before racing.
In the car on the way to the game, I have cleverly named a pregame playlist on my phone that has right now about 12 songs, but it's growing by the day. But when I pull into Oracle or any road arena, I play the same song for that last 3 minutes of the drive. And that song's changed every year. It just kind of gets me into to focus on now it's game time. As soon as I get out the car, get into the locker room, I know.
The best middleweight fighter in the world, Israel Adesina, says that music and dancing helps him express his most authentic self.
For me, it was also just a way of expressing my truest form. It gave me power, like the little, hints to the Naruto, the weebs, doing all my stuff, spirit bomb. When I put my hand up there and all my team behind me put their hand up, I felt I did this. Because I took the spirit. And I told some of my friends as well, when you see my hand go up, I don't care where you are in the world, where you're watching it, put your hand up. I told them, I was like, put your hand up. I want to feel you. So when I did that, people think it's all fun and games. I'm crazy. I believe this shit.
Yeah.
And the mind does not know what's the difference between reality and fantasy sometimes. So it really empowers me. And I walked out there and I was just like, I was feeling myself, man.
Other exceptional athletes, like Lewis Hamilton, also use music to stay focused, avoid distractions, and get into flow.
Enjoy the experience of. I listen to a lot of music throughout my race weekends, in general, every day of my life. So driving up here today, listen to music the whole way. Driving home tonight, I listen to music the whole way. Even in between meetings, whatever, that I'll be playing something. And then on the race weekend, when I'm doing my work on Sunday after the strategy meeting, for example, got the headphones on, I'm listening to music. Helps drown out the noise of the surrounding stresses and pressures and helps you focus in and narrow in on the most important thing, which is winning the race.
Number 6, do the math. The elite do the math on what it will take to become great.
12 to 14, you went from scoring 0 to being the best in the state of all ages.
Yep. But it's simple. Like if you do the math on this, right? Like if you're thinking about how often kids are playing, right? And I tell this to my daughter and my daughter's team as well that I coach. It's a simple thing of math. If you want to be a great player, if you play every single day, 2-3 hours, every single day, over the course of a year, how much better are you getting? Most kids will play maybe, an hour and a half, 2 days a week.
Right.
Do the math on that. It's not going to get it done. It's not going to get it done, right? So if you're obsessively training 2-3 hours every single day over a year, over 2 years,
you're to accelerate.
You make quantum leaps, man. Talk about that. Okay, so if your job is to try to be the best basketball player you can be, right? To do that, you have to practice, you have to train, right? You want to train as much as you can, as often as you can. Right? Now imagine you wake up at 3, you train at 4. You go 4 to 6, come home, breakfast, relax, blah, blah, blah. Now you're back at it again, 9 to 11, right? You relax, and now all of a sudden you're back at it again, 2 to 4. And now you're back at it again, 7 to 9. Look how much more training I have done by simply starting at 4, right? And so now you do that, and as the years go on, the separation that you have with your competitors and your peers just grows larger and larger and larger and larger and larger. And by year 5 or 6, doesn't matter what kind of work they do in the summer, they're never going to catch up.
Michael Phelps would do the same.
I always wanted to be the first Michael Phelps because I wanted to do things differently than everybody else. So for me, when I went through a span of 5 or 6 years where I didn't miss a single day of training, 365 days a year, that made me different. I got 52 extra days each year than anybody else had. And in the sport of swimming, if you miss one day, it takes you 2 days to get back to where you were. So everybody else is taking a step back on Sunday when they weren't swimming, and I was taking that one step forward. So for me, that's really all it was. I'm really big with numbers and stats. So basically for me, 2001 to 2004, probably, I mean, those years were the biggest building years for me going into 2007, 2008, which were arguably the best 2 years of my career. And they were challenging at times because those were the years where I went 6 or 5 or 6 straight years without missing a single day. So 365 days of the year. Doesn't matter a holiday, a birthday, if I'm sick, this or that, it doesn't matter. I was in the pool because that's what I wanted. I wanted to make that sacrifice to do something that nobody else was doing, to give me the opportunity to potentially do something that nobody else has ever done. And I think the biggest thing is during the days where I didn't want to go, or I was tired, I was sore, this, that, or the other, I still went. Because if I'm going to go to practice and I'm going to get 10%, 20%, 30% out of that day, it's better than getting 0. So I was always taking steps forward. And that's why everything worked out.
Number 7. Goals. The best of the best have clear goals. Here's world-renowned clinical psychologist Jordan Peterson to explain the importance of having goals.
But a huge part of the reason that people fail is because they don't ever set up the criteria for success. And so since success is a very narrow line and very unlikely, the probability that you're going to stumble on it randomly is 0. And so there's a proposition here, and the proposition is, if you actually want something, you can have it. Now the question then would be, well, what do you mean by actually want? And the answer is that you reorient your life in every possible way to make the probability that that will occur as certain as possible. And that's a sacrificial idea, right? It's like, you don't get everything.
My goals were times. So I had to put the work in to get those times. If I didn't get the times, I went back to the drawing board because those times were so important to me. I wasn't racing anybody else. I was racing myself when I was in the pool. I didn't care what anybody else did. If I went the times that I had on my goal sheet, I knew there was not another soul on that planet that could have done the times that I had written down. So I didn't care. I want to be an Olympic gold medalist, I want to break a world record, and I want to be a professional athlete. And those goals that I thought about every single day kept me coming week after week and year after year until I was able to accomplish them. It was just the goals. Yeah. It's that easy. You know, like if I had a goal sheet and I accomplished everything on it, then I turned it over and wrote a different one. So I was always chasing those goals, and that was something that I learned how to do at a very young age. So goal setting, I think, is something that's very important because it gives you a purpose to get out of bed every day. And to your point, when you were saying to beat the shit out of somebody, yeah, that's what it was. I mean, I had to have that every day to get out of bed because back to the point of saying, there were days where I didn't want to go. So it's finding those little small ways to help you stay motivated when you don't want to do things.
Slow diaphragmatic breathing helps athletes achieve calm and settle themselves into the present moment when it matters the most. Lebron James can often be seen doing this during breaks.
To be able to be in a packed arena on the road with 20,000, 22,000 people, screaming fans, going crazy, the level of the pressure of the game, to be able to find a moment, 2 minutes or 1 minute or whatever, 30 seconds, to be able to just to close my eyes and just kind of relax myself and calm myself, take deep breaths, give myself an opportunity just to have an inner personal self. It's meditation, basically.
The best tennis player in the world also uses slow diaphragmatic breathing during high-pressure situations.
I encourage a lot of people that don't know where to start with all this, like meditation, visualization. It might seem a little bit abstract.
Yeah.
Like start with conscious breathing, because and as what you've done with us, you've led us through to counting the breaths, right?
Yes.
1, 2, 3,
Yes.
4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 4 in, 4 out. And there, millions of ways you can do that. But just simply starting to really be conscious of your breath, focusing maybe on the tip of your nose or something like that, or feeling the chair that you're sitting in, then you're starting to train yourself to be more in the present moment. I think as a professional athlete and being in an individual sport, I get to feel a really big leaps, so to say, or transformations of emotional states very quickly. I have no one really to rely on. So at times, as confident I am in myself and comfortable in my own skin and being so experienced, sometimes I feel like, oh, geez, I wish there was maybe someone, like I wish I had maybe another minute or two to sit down and like recollect before, recover before I step out and compete. But I don't. So I have to find a way. And the more I train myself to be mindful and to be present, the more I feel my breath and the more I'm recovering my energy. And as a result, the more I feel I'm performing better, right? Because I'm more present.
Number 9, optimism. The best of the best have an unwavering belief that the future will work out.
The draft report on you. Basically, it goes poor build, skinny, lacks great physical stature and strength.
Lacks mobility and ability to avoid the rush, lacks a really strong arm, can't drive the ball downfield, does not throw a really tight spiral.
System-type player who can get exposed if forced to add lift.
And gets knocked down easily.
That kind of gets me fired up because I'm thinking, what the hell do these people know?
This skinny beanpole of a young man walked over to me and said, "Hi, Mr. Kraft. I want to introduce myself. I'm Tom Brady." I said, "I know who you are. You're our 6th-round draft choice." And I always remember he looked me like a laser, eye to eye, and he said, "That's right, and I'm the best decision this organization has ever made."
Number 10, film analysis and deliberate practice. The best in the world spend countless hours analyzing film to see how they can improve. It's a process. Analyze film, find areas for improvement, engage in full concentration, deliberate practice to improve, and repeat again and again.
That's the way to do it. You got to earn it every week.
That's all for this video. Subscribe to the channel and check out the Mastery Blueprint courses to access the best mental training exercises used by the best athletes and sports psychologists in the world. Link is in the description. If you're still watching, your reward is a bonus strategy. Number 11, control. The best in the world only focus on what they can control.
I know what I go through on a daily basis. I know the process that I take. I also know what's in my control and what's out of my control. So I think a lot of my whole life it's been about focusing on the things that are in my control and trying to do the best with that opportunity and the best I can with it.
There's obviously, as a contact sport, you can't control everything. I can control myself. I can control what I do for my body in the off season, how I prepare. I've talked about those things at length. Right. I feel like I've kind of laid the blueprint for people, whether people want to believe me or
Absolutely.
not. It's, you don't make all the decisions. I can control what I can control. So much of what my performance has been over the years is how do I maximize what I can do? And I can't, I can't run, I can't catch, I can't block, I can't tackle. I can do my job and I'm going to do it the best way I can. I got to trust everyone else to do the same thing. And
there are certain things I can and I can't control, and there are the only things that I really try to make sure that I pay attention to are the things that I can control. And I don't get frustrated when there's something doesn't go my way. Whatever that might be.
I draw a circle around the date of the fight, and inside that circle, I write everything I have control of. My diet, my accountability, my commitment to training, just everything that I can control. And outside of that circle, I write everything I can't control.
Sick.
Inside that circle is my thoughts, my work ethic, my commitment. Outside that circle is opinions, critics, the media, my opponent. And I'll just go to that page in my book periodically throughout my training camp and on fight week and look at it, and I know I'm in a good spot because all the stuff outside of that circle doesn't matter. That's just noise. The only thing I can focus on and affect are the things inside of that circle. So as long as I'm doing that, I'm doing the most I can, doing everything I can. So I just make sure that inside of that circle is taken care of.
That's phenomenal. Thank you.
Unbelievable.